Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. Got the boys back. The band is back together. The Gooners, late night, are here. Stebby, Cantu, boys. Glad to have you back off
It's been a while.
since the postseason. If I'm not since the Astros got eliminated
It's
for the
because
regular season.
our contract had expired and Zoe finally signed them. So we're
Yeah.
retired now.
I had to give out the qualifying offers.
Yeah.
So it was either a qualifying offer extension or
He
boys were gonna get off 40 man.
he had no other option, so he had to bring us back. So.
Or
We had a
pennies.
runner up. We had a runner up. The name was Cerna.
And it was for a penny. Speaking of the penny is gone now. I don't know if y'all boys have been keeping up with y'all's little history.
R.I.P. Last year with it, right?
This year,
Yeah,
2025.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the
How
last
the
year.
hell did this? How did we start talking about a penny, bro? What the,
Hey, but you
Because
know,
you're
there's a
talking
lot
about
of
money.
pennies that are really, really valuable, like with certain like little numbers or paintings on them, like that.
are you a
Watch-
coin collector, Stefan?
about to
I'm
say.
not a coin collector, but I've seen before, like I like the stuff. I mean, speaking of collecting,
What you got?
Miguel Ulola out
Ooh.
of 50, first Bowman on card auto.
Oh,
There you go.
Stebby.
Had to put
You
that
don't
one.
you
in
don't
the
mind
vault.
telling the audience how much you paid for that?
Like $20, bro. His shit's kind of cheap right now.
Take advantage. Take advantage.
People are undervaluing him.
From our audience, you better if you
Is he gonna be in TriStar or what?
I don't
Probably
think so.
not.
We haven't got nothing yet. Speaking of TriStar, I mean, we could talk about the lineup as of right now for Astros players and Hall of Famers from the Astros. You got Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez recently just announced by TriStar. You have Josh Reddick, 2017 World Series champion. You got the Hall of Famers in Bidge and Bags. Craig Biggio, Jeff Bag, we're going to be there. And then the rising stars of the prospects being AJ Blueball, Walker Yannick, and Zach Cole are supposed to be the three prospects so far that TriStar, at least for the Astros organization, is going to be out there. I remember last year, Angel, it was
I know
Billy Wagner.
Reggie Jackson was there.
Reggie Jackson was 2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think I went last year then.
Craig
Yeah, I
Biggio,
don't think I
Jeff
went last
Bagwell,
year either.
Billy Wagner, and then you had Bryce Matthews and Parker Smith. So honestly, and Yainer Diaz, I forgot to add him. He's supposed to be on the roster for the autograph show. I think it's the 40th, if I'm not mistaken, for TriStar. So
I wonder if they're going to be taxing already for Zach Cole. I'm pretty sure they are because I remember when they had other prospects that were real cheap back then. Yeah, Loperfido was really cheap, but I'm pretty sure Cole is probably going to be like big league price already or something.
I don't think so. I mean,
It might because of the hype.
Never know.
Yeah, could be.
That's why you buy low right now, like Stebby did for $20.
Mm-hmm.
You could get you a Miguel Ulola card.
I seen out of 5 just sold for like 400. I think.
Wow.
What's the biggest sale you made, Stefan?
What on the card?
Yeah.
Like 450.
Which one was that one?
Yeah.
It was like a Mahomes card I had,
Oh, okay.
Sounds about right.
but I have a bunch of other shit that I could sell for about north of that. Same stuff like that, but I'm just holding on to stuff still.
Hey, Stefan, are you still running now, or you still in the ER?
I ran Sunday for the Waterburger 5K thing with my
that's
dad
right.
and stuff like that. Do 26, 27 minute 5K, but after that, bro, I had to take Advil before the race and like ice my stuff down with like icy hot. So after when I was done, it was starting to hurt again. So I got to rest for like probably like another 15 days or so. So right now I'm on the IR, but be ready to pick me up on the waiver wire because I'll be back.
Icy hot pennies, card collecting. That's how we start off this episode, which is really crazy. But episode 292, the GM.
I thought he was gonna miss out. He's here.
Kevin Cerna is on the chat. It's been a while
That
since
man
we've
told
heard
the-
that.
that man told the pilots of the plane, "Hey, I need to connect directly to your Starlink.
Safe travels.
We got something serious going on. Put this on the
Bro.
intercom."
Bro, Kevin's about to land in freaking Mexico, messing up the satellite signals with texting, joining the pod.
Safe travels to Kevy. But episode 292, GM winter meetings, because the general manager winter meetings are here. It is in Las Vegas, Nevada. Of course, the Sin City. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of thing. And of course, I think a bunch of general managers, a lot of agents are going to be connecting on how to improve their team, see what players are available, what players are there to trade. Even got some players out there. I believe we saw Framber Valdez. His name was out there. That was at the winter meetings with the GM winter meetings. PCA Pete Crow Armstrong was there as well. You
Yeah.
just recently saw Tariq Skubal just win the second back-to-back Cy Young Award. So a lot of players, agents, as well as GMs getting on.
Imanaga, free agent too, I believe, right?
Who is it?
Shada.
Yeah,
He's going
Shota
to the
Imanaga.
Dodgers.
There's a lot of free agents.
And then you got freaking Murakami coming to the league. And they're
Going to the
like,
Dodgers.
there's a joke that's like Dodgers gonna employ like 80% of Team Japan.
LA's going to be now the NPB, like the
MPB Dodgers.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of players. I think a lot of pitchers. We've heard too on, like John Morosi had mentioned. Steban, you had mentioned it before the show that outfielders are being a little up there to see what teams need outfielders. Of course, pitching is going to be at a high price, and of course, the big market names: Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez, Pete Alonso. Those guys are looking for big, massive contracts for themselves, and it'll be interesting to see what Houston can do regarding their payroll. Of course, they're not going to get, this is just me speaking, guys. I don't think they're going to get Pete Alonso. They're not going to get Framber Valdez. Then, the big names, Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman. I just don't see them two coming back in the Nationals uniform. But you got some guys, and I've talked about in the last episode, some pitching names like a Brandon Woodruff, a Zach Gallen. Maybe we talked about it too, all three of us, of some free agent pitchers that are going to be happening this upcoming offseason and potentially in the baseball winter meetings. That's where a lot of moves and transactions are going to be made right there and then. But this is just laying the foundation for these teams and these GMs to see who's available, extension talks, players that are tradable, all that type of stuff. Even prospects can come into this play. And it's going to be fun because, like we talk about in the regular season, all that, the offseason is what's to get your team into October baseball and then obviously land the commissioner's trophy. But they started Monday and they're going to end on Thursday, which is tomorrow, November 13. But we got objectives on our side right there. Dana Brown, the GM winter meetings, hitting coaches have been set. The Astros finally got their two hitting coaches. Walker, meaning Christian Walker, is he on the market? I mean, we've had a report say that name has came into play, as well as Dana Brown talking about him earlier from today as well. Starting pitchers, a lot of pitchers from MLB analysts have been throwing some names that could be potentially a great fit for Houston. And last but not least, the 40-man roster has been cleaned up. A notable Astro, we can just say Chas McCormick, he has been cleared and he's going to be on waivers. The only one, if I'm not mistaken, that was bought, well, not really bought, but just brought to their to a new team was Pedro Leon. And man, that was a prospect Houston was really hoping, and he was really regarded as a big time prospect for the Astros for a good while. But best of luck to them. But before we get started, Cantu, it's been a while since you've told everybody where they could see us and all that great stuff. Let everybody know where they can follow us, and we'll get this going.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast as well. That's at Full Steam Ahead. Instagram is at FSA Full Steam Ahead. But yeah, we've been getting some good traction on X with some posts we've been doing. So just keep spreading the word, keep doing up. I think we're gonna see some great numbers next year. But it starts with y'all by retweeting, liking. That helps out, commenting on posts as well. So just appreciate all the support.
Yeah, and of course we got our TikToks that's going. I mean, we're gonna have a bunch of stuff in this off season with interviews with coaches, players, personnel, all that type of stuff. So be looking forward to that. Of course, the reels and the TikToks are going to show a bunch of it, but the real story will be on our YouTube channel where we get our videos. But let's start off with Astros hiring Victor Rodriguez as their new hitting coach. That was the former hitting coach for the San Diego Padres, and McTaggart had talked about on November 4th. I'm just going to speed real quick about it, that they were targeting Rodriguez to join their staff. He was with San Diego for 2 years. And then just a little bit information about him: assistant hitting coach in 13 and 17 with the Boston Red Sox. Moved to Cleveland as a assistant hitting coach from 17 to 2023. Landed into the primary hitting coach at San Diego. And November 5th, which was the next day that McTaggart had reported that the Astros were targeting, well, it came into life. And Kevin Acee of the Padres beat writer had announced that Victor Rodriguez was leaving the Padres to become the Astros' new hitting coach. And just to throw a little bit of numbers in San Diego, I think he did a really good 2 years. Of course, if you've seen on the social media platform, specifically Twitter, a lot of Padre fans are excited about this guy out of San Diego. And I'll talk a little bit brief about it here in just a minute. But like I was saying, with the numbers from San Diego, they were ranked 20th with a 244 batting average as a team in 2023. They finished first with a 263 and 24. San Diego had the lowest strikeout rate in the majors by a decent margin in 24 as well. The Padres' 17.6 strikeout rate was 1.7 lower than the next closest team, which was the Houston Astros, with a 19.3%. And last but not least, in 2025, the Padres ranked 7th with a 252 batting average from the past season, and they had the third lowest strikeout rate, 19.1%. And if we look at Houston's real quick, we can just throw it on there. This is the category for the Astros from their runs, home runs, and this was this season. They had 686 runs. That was ranked 21st in baseball. 182 long balls, home runs, tied for 16th. Walks, having 471, is ranked 26th. Had a 250 batting average, tied for 11th. A 714 OPS was tied for 14th. Runners in scoring position, their batting average was 245, which was 23rd. And pitches seen in each plate appearance was 28th. So real quick, going back to that post that a lot of Padre fans were saying, is because they were saying, and I haven't seen a bunch of Padre games, but they were noting that he's a guy that likes to bunt. He's an old school guy. The way his mentality is when he's at the plate. Of course, he did play some Major League Baseball through his career, transform into assistant, now to a hitting coach, and now the Astros hitting coach. For Houston, they just needed somebody, a new voice in that clubhouse, a new saying, a new philosophy for approaches. Because when I just read you them numbers, pitches seen in a plate appearance, the only one that was seen a lot, and we're talking about from 2024 to now, was Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, and Isaac Paredes. Those guys would put up good at-bats, great play discipline, were swinging at strikes, not swinging out of the zone, taking pitches, all that good stuff. And that's what Houston struggled as soon as Bregman departed, Tucker departed. The only guy that was really having consistent at-bats, because Alvarez was out almost mainly the whole season, was Isaac Paredes. And I think having him is going to help out a lot. And just to add more to the hitting coaches, the Astros finalized on hiring Anthony Apposi as a hitting coach, as that was the guy as a former Tigers first base coach. And then last but not least, Dan Hennigan was promoted from hitting coordinator to director, of hitting and offensive coordinator on the major league staff. Saying offensive coordinator sounds really footballish, but that's what their title is. And last but not least, Rodriguez, and this is from Brian McTaggart, Rodriguez will be the team's lead hitting coach for the postseason, serving as an assistant. Hennigan will create game plans and is an expert in swing biomechanics. So I talked about this last episode, guys, with the pitching coaches being with Bill Murphy leaving and departing to Pittsburgh. And you have Josh Miller, that's the pitching coach. We haven't heard nothing about pitching coaches as of yet, but it's almost the same situation. Rodriguez, I see him as the Josh Miller. You bring in Anthony, and then you bring in Dan Hennigan, which Hennigan, like it said, game plans, swing biomechanics. You're looking at the R&D. You're looking at the research and development. You're looking at the analytics. You're looking at all that types of science when you go into your full swing, seeing the launch angle, all that type of stuff. And then, of course, Apposi is just going to be that guy that's next to Rodriguez, as well as Hennigan. That's just going to bridge the gap for all three. You got somebody that's in the analytical part of this game, to two hitting coaches that have played the game and had success. Honestly, if you go look at Anthony's, you know, his resume, and he's done good with the Tigers. That Tigers team isn't a really star-studded superstar team. Only one really,
But they
if you
get
want to,
hits.
if
Yeah,
you
they
want to
get a lot of
count,
hits.
is Riley Green. That's the only guy maybe I would count. And if you want to count Gleyber Torres, by all means, Javier Baez has really stepped up this season.
Kerry
But
Carpenter trying to build his name up
Kerry
there now.
Carpenter, I mean, that, like you boys had said it, them guys can hit. And that's what Houston is struggling with the runners in scoring position. They need the big hit. Pitchers seeing at the plate, like I was talking about too. They need somebody that's going to have that approach, or runners in scoring position. Like I was saying with Rodriguez, if he's a guy that old school mentality that likes to bunt, move the guy over kind of thing, then you could possibly see that. But seeing the success that going with Rodriguez from the Padres, and I will say this to back him up, they were ranked 7th at 252 batting average. The only two Padres that played almost really the whole 162 game season was Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado.
And he just
Jackson
wants
Merrill,
to-
Jackson Merrill missed some time. Luis Ariz missed some time. Xander Bogart missed some time. So that's my take on that. I just want to hear y'all boys. Stebby, if you want to go first.
Oh, go ahead.
What do you think about the signings? What do you think about the new philosophy for this team? What can happen?
I mean, it's always good to have good changes, especially when you have different aspects of the game. People that have been around different organizations, seen different talents of players. You know what I mean? Tatis, Arise, seen the way that people work in different, organizations. You kind of pick apart, and you can be like, you come to these guys that have similar swing mechanics or something. You kind of throw them, hey, this helped this guy. Then this guy, hit 40 home runs or hit this and this or hit a good average or was just always on base. It's not always about the long ball. Maybe that's what the Astros are kind of going here with the game plan last season when, you're missing your slugger and you're not really scoring runs. And whenever the Astros would score, it'd be like 1-2, 2-1 games whenever they would just really kind of win off of the long ball. So, some of these guys probably just fell apart. And, like we said, the Astros never really had a set lineup. It was always, guys moving up and down, moving around, bench players, role players coming in and trying to force a starting spot on themselves because of injuries. And the game plan gets split up and messed around, but with some new staff around, hopefully they could change things up. And these guys with these better analytics and two hitting coaches could benefit maybe the team.
Yeah, I think this is a good move for the Astros. I think these are two teams, the Padres and Tigers, to poach from, honestly, because when you think of San Diego, you got that Slam Diego, right? And when you think about the Tigers, you got these team, like this gritty offense that's going to be, you taking every pitch for their advantage. So it kind of plays to the Astros' strength. Like you got those heavy hitters like Jordan Alvarez, and you can even count Altuve under, who can kind of like maybe mesh a little bit with Rodriguez with that power ball. But then you got the guys like Dubon, right, Myers, who can kind of maybe learn a little bit more from Apostle, right, who is familiar with that, small, that small baseball
drive hitting.
Yeah, just doing what you got. So I like it. And honestly, Rodriguez has been a hitting instructor since 2002. So talking about an offensive guru right there, since his early days with the Boston Red Sox. So I like the move. I think, like I agree with Steph, I think a change was needed. I think for back-to-back years, you can even maybe say 3 years in a row, the Astros have had a hard time adjusting to what the pitcher's game plan is, and they kind of been a little stubborn of like not changing what's worked for them. I think so. I think having this good mindset and hearing a new voice or hearing some new analytics, just a different perspective on things, I think it's always good. We always say baseball is a game of adjustments, and this is just another one, right? You got to be open-minded. You got to be able to take in new information. So I like the move. We'll see how it works out. But I think Rodriguez comes with a good resume. Like you said earlier, Zoe, before he stepped in San Diego, San Diego's ranked 20th batting average, and offensively they could have been better. And then Rodriguez shows up and works with what he's got. I mean, that's the star-studded lineup he had going in with Tatis and Arise as well. But he's able to mesh those players, use their talents, and stir up a good lineup there. So I mean, I like the move. I think that was good for the Astros. I think a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, you make good points. And looking at there was an article written from one of the Tigers beat writers on Aposte's, almost like his philosophy, but there's some quotes that are in that story of how everything started for him. This is from Tim Cousins, a Baltimore Orioles field coordinator, on one of the quotes in this story. And this is talking about Aposte as well. He said, quote, "He can go as deep as you want on the coach's side. He can go toe to toe with anybody who's current with hitting, but he chooses not to. He pulls back and lets it breathe," meaning I guess the players, "and finds the right windows." And really talking about too, looking at this article, Aposte is kind of into the analytics as well, really savvy into some of the things and looking at some of the statistics and looking at the numbers of whatever coaches present to him from from the office standpoint. One more thing, another quote. This is coming from Aposte talking about the game of hitting and the mental part of it. And this is it, quote, "It's hard for players to not self-sabotage because you work so hard to get there. You outworked everybody. So when you struggle, you want to fix everything and overwork. And it becomes a snowball. Maybe take them to that place mentally, and then let's add the stuff we need to work on." I feel like, and end quote. I mean, I feel like too, Houston last year, I mean, they were tensing up at the batter's box. They were trying to get that first pitch that they like. If they're looking at the first pitch, they're going to try to attack that second pitch. And you saw a lot of swing and miss. You saw a lot of hitters going out of the zone. You saw hitters taking strikes and only maybe seeing 3 pitches at the plate. Next thing you know, the pitcher throws 9 pitches in an inning, and then your pitcher has to go back after throwing, let's say, 20 something pitches. So having that baseball mindset of letting everything slow down, letting the game come to you, that's what's going to help Houston. And like you said, Angel, star-studded lineup over there in San Diego. Machado, Tatis, Arise, Bogarts. I mean, we could go on. Merrill. Astros have the same lineup. Altuve, Pena, Correa, Walker, Paredes, Diaz, Alvarez. I mean, the guys, he has what he has over there in San Diego. Basically the same thing here in Houston. A star-studded lineup that he can produce and put something against. Look at the game plans like with this, with the hitting coordinator now that's going to be stepping in. And it's a well-balanced, like I mentioned. If Anthony has that tech savvy of looking at analytics, he's going to work really well with Hennigan. And of course, Rodriguez being that old school baseball mindset. Of course, too, I'm pretty sure there could be some hit and runs in some situations. There are going to be some sack bunts, some drags here and there. And then you have him to look at Aposte as well. So great move for the Astros. That's what I'm saying. A new voice in this clubhouse, at least regarding the hitting coaches. I think it's going to be well needed because last year, I'm pretty sure, and we've talked about it numerous times, it just didn't sit well seeing the Astros have 1 out and runners on second and third, and they can't bring the guy in. Or no outs with bases loaded and only getting 1 run out of that situation. Because in them situations, with that star-studded lineup, of course, the Astros played with a bunch of injuries last season. You're supposed to be able to do that job and be able to get multiple runs, not just 1, 2 or 3 runs in an inning with that star-studded lineup. But good move for the Astros. Of course, Alex Cintron, if you've had looked at the former coaches, Cintron is now the hitting coach over there in the Texas Rangers. And Troy Snitker, which was the other assistant coach, hitting coach, is now with the New York Mets. So good for them. They were able to find some positions, some openings with different teams. Best of luck to them. Astros got their 2 new hitting coaches, and I'm very interested to see how the analytics of Hennigan 2 is going to be coming into these game plans of in certain at-bats, and as well as the mechanics of players' swing. We saw Jeremy Pena's swing change it up a little bit. We saw Kyle Tucker's swing change up too. I'm not saying that was from last year, but from a year ago. So I'm interested to see what players are going to have different swings or different stances as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, I like just to sum everything up. I think again overall it was a good move, and it's just I think spring training is going to be a little bit interesting now, just to see what game plans they have written up. You see what techniques or what refinements they make to these guys' swings, offensive things. I'm honestly, as an Astros fan, I think since the spotter came in, they were like, we're gonna be using all aspects of the like offense, like stealing bases and stuff like that, which they have. But I think what could be missing is a little hit and run here or there, or maybe like a little like suicide squeeze every once in a while. Just like kind of things to get the offense.
Pick
I'm
things up
sorry,
a little bit.
yeah, the defense thinking, like make the defense make a play. I think sometimes they're too reliant on like a home run or trying to get the big double right off the bat when a single could have gotten the job done, right? So I think getting into that, you have both like an old school mindset, a new school mindset, and players can take what they want. They have knowledges from both sides of, I guess, two different eras of baseball. Again, like I said, 2002 baseball when Rodriguez first started to now, it's a different game, right? So just being able to take in all this information and use what they can to take their advantage. And again, you have a great lineup, like you said, so, and just being able to refine that, because with this lineup, honestly, despite those injuries, it's kind of hard to believe the Astros make the playoffs. Like I know injuries played a toll, and they're gonna be healthy by opening day, so should be a new season for the Astros. I think missing the playoffs next year will be, I think, a red flag for a lot of people.
Yeah, the Astros team could stay healthy and get everything together. They should be really nice next year, especially with a new coach and everything. It is pretty much a new lineup as well, so you kind of just want to refresh it up. The old coaches probably kind of ran things differently, like the way with they still had Bregman and Tucker in the lineup, and maybe just certain fundamental things that they're teaching the guys just weren't working, or just things that didn't really work out for people, and they kept maybe forcing it on them, or maybe they just weren't really analytically that good on the devices, because the guys were always on the iPads trying to look at things. Maybe the coaches didn't know enough about the technology, or just weren't telling them the right things. I mean, there's no way the Astros should have struggled the way they did last year from one year to another. The guys that had injuries, obviously that's an excuse, but the guys that weren't injured, a lot of them would go into some really bad slump, or just looked like they weren't knowing what the hell was going on offensively, or what the game plan was like kind of just go up there and try to play something, and ended up grounding out 1, 2, 3 inning, or striking out looking like a fool because you're just trying to think everything's fastball. So
I mean, you have two different generations, I'm gonna say, because you're seeing now kids come up that are like born from 2004, 2003, compared to coaches, and some coaches don't even like change too. Some players don't like
some of
change.
them are just
Coaches don't
real
like change.
old, and I'm just gonna keep it traditional.
Yeah, like they're not gonna adapt. They're not gonna try to like look into the analytics and see what works,
Screw
because
that
they're always gonna,
technology. Screw
yeah,
that.
they're always gonna have that baseball mindset that, of course, in situations, a coach would want to bunt with, like, let's say in the ninth inning, for instance, winning runs at first base. What are you originally going to do? You're going to bunt, move the guy over to get, that guy at second base to give you a higher percentage of winning this game. Or even if a guy is at second base, more than likely you're going to try to put a bunt down. So you're seeing two different generations, two different aspects of coaches and hitters in this game now. And to see if there's a balance between it. And that's why I said bringing Hennigan, promoting him to being a hitting coordinator is going to help the Astros level that balance of Rodriguez, um, Apase, as well as Hennigan. So like Angel had mentioned, we already summed it up many times. Great move for the Astros. It's going to be interesting when we get to talk to them when it comes to FanFest.
Yeah, absolutely. But like the episode said, there is general manager meetings happening right now, and it's not the winter meetings yet, but just general manager meetings meeting up together. And I think the biggest question mark we've had to end the season is that stacked infield that the Astros have. So with Isaac Paredes, Christian Walker, Correa, Jeremy Pena, and I can guarantee you two things: Carlos Correa and Jeremy Pena are not moving from that position. Right? They are going to have days off every now and then, but I think those positions are set in stone. Now you got second base
and then
and
you're
first.
getting as well. Can't forget the dude from the Orioles that we got. I forget his name.
Oh yeah,
Urias. Urias,
Ramon
and then you
Diaz,
got
Jose Altuve.
Desendo is also somebody that could be a starting infielder as well somewhere.
Yeah, again a jam packed infield, and it's a good thing to have, right? But it's a good thing to have when the DH spot is available, and I think going into this season, especially with Jordan Alvarez's injury, proneness. I think Joe spotted last year. He said he wanted 33%, of the games to be for Jordan Alvarez to be in the outfield. I think with this injury late in the season, I think that's probably less.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's just my assumption. So, knowing that probably Alvarez will play outfield mostly at Dyken Park, right, in the outfield if he does, right. But most of his games will be in DH, and a lot of talk at the offseason what Christian Walker with his, I'm not gonna say like I'm gonna say not great season. I'm gonna say it's a down season because he still led the Astros in RBI, still led the Astros, I believe, in home runs as well. Right. So I mean, still offensive numbers there for the Astros, right? But Christian Walker, talks where he might be under trade block, and this is per Rob Nightingale on November 10th. Walker's name came up in trade talks with the Minnesota Twins when they landed Carlos Correa, and they'll gladly listen to our offers for him this winter, trying to shed in the remaining 2 years at $40 million in his contract. 2 days later, Dana Brown responds by saying, "We haven't talked about Walker in a trade. Walker is our everyday first baseman. He'll get some time off. We'll play by the end of there." I think that's just spoken like a great general manager. I don't think you're going to give, your hands in your sleeve, but I do agree with Dana Brown. I think this one season doesn't defy Christian Walker. I've been saying this since the season ends. Like, I don't think Christian Walker is going to go anywhere. I've been firm on that. Now, would I be surprised he gets moved? No, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day, right? They're going to do what's best for the team. But I think you give Christian Walker, his due, right? I think he's earned, he's a veteran. He's earned that. And I just think what the Astros are going to do is have a rotating door in the infield, and every day it's going to be probably a new guy. I think Altuve sees a little bit more in the outfield. I think Padres sees a little bit more second base, especially since he is recovering from that hamstring injury. But I think to start the season, just as I guess I'm just up, is Christian Walker will be the Astros uniform playing first base. I just don't see him going anywhere. I think he's still an elite offensive weapon the Astros can have, and maybe this new pitch offensive coach, could be helpful for him. So I don't see the Astros abandoning that. I don't know what your thoughts on that. Got to.
I mean, honestly, I've heard the rumors too, and it's kind of hard to tell what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Who are you gonna put at first? Are you gonna trade a first baseman for another first baseman? Not really. I don't think it's really gonna possibly be that thing. And if you do trade him, you're most likely gonna trade him for some pitching. So at that point, you're looking at maybe who are you gonna put at first? Are you gonna try to develop Paredes to play first, or are you going to try to depend upon a prospect, or are you going to throw Dubon out there and have somebody like that in the mix, that's not something you really want to be dependable on, because then eventually you're going to have the headaches of, oh, we need to get a first baseman now because I don't know why we traded Christian Walker for this and that and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't really see it. Christian Walker is kind of heating up, getting comfortable as an Astro towards the end of his first season with this. So, I mean, second year, I don't see it getting any bad. But if it does, not fit in well for him, I mean, here by the trade deadline, maybe he might be in the talks.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before that it's ridiculous for me to say that Christian Walker is going to be traded. However, it doesn't sound ridiculous either. If you go look at that quote that Angel had read, this comes from Brian McTaggart, according to him, on one of the quotes from Dana Brown. That last part, will play Paredes there. Now, that kind of questions me. Is this almost similar to like last offseason as the Astros were having Jose Altuve take some fly balls in left field at Dyken Park after the season ended? And of course, the injury update later, Angel's going to say with Paredes, does that potentially put him in that position now? And, like Bob Nightingale was saying, that the Astros are going to look to try and see if they could get any offers this winter. Stebby, you make a good point. If the Astros get a pitcher in the trade market, and if they're going to put one name out there, it's going to be Christian Walker, I believe. Like Angel said, I don't think the Astros should trade him, defying his season last year. The strikeout rate was at a high, career high, all that type of stuff. We know. Swing and miss, runners in score position, it was not pretty. But he did have a decent offensive, going to the RBIs, the home runs, and because Houston didn't have nobody at the time. If you want to count Yonder Diaz, you can put him. Jose Altuve too, you could put him as well. But for me, you need a defensive first baseman. you absolutely need a guy that's going to play
Yeah, of
great defense
course.
at first.
Think about how
Because
many errors were saved.
Yeah, and
Like,
then
exactly.
he did save so many, and all those guys that were singles, those could have been easily doubles, or that could have been a runner coming in from second easily. You know what I mean? He blocks those off, and I'm not really sure if there's anybody out there that's really going to be able to, block off
and
a lot of stuff like that. I mean, the only guy that's really notable for that is Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, he showed it off a lot in the postseason,
Mhm.
but Pete Alonso, the glove decline. I mean, other guys out there. I mean, you don't really see a lot of defensive web gem first baseman, first players. Everybody's mostly up there with the bat. Freeman used to be elite at first, but now as the age is ticking on him, it's not as elite.
yeah,
Matt Olson as well.
and Paredes, I'm not saying Paredes can't hold his own at first base, right? But I'm just, I'm thinking like Christian Walker's glove is the real deal, and having that safety net for Jeremy Pena and that safety net for whoever's at second base and third base, knowing that if they make a bad throw, because it's gonna happen, right? The 162 games that they have someone that's gonna there to pick them up. Sorry, Zoe, for interrupting.
No, y'all good. I mean, y'all make the points because who's going to play first base if Walker gets departed? You're going to depend on Esau Paredes, a guy that's going to be. He only probably played a little bit of handful of games at first base, but you're going to depend on him to be your permanent first baseman. What happens if he needs a day off? Who's going to be the first baseman by then? I mean, Caratini wanted to get some reps out there, but he's on the free agent market as of
Yeah,
right now.
he's somebody that might leave.
Rainer Diaz was still learning that position, as well as Mauricio Dubon. He was still learning that position. So for me, that's why I say I agree with Brown. I just do not see Walker going anywhere. And that's what I just said. The only way I see him being moved is for starting pitching. That's the only way I can see that happening. And if Houston can find a way to bring another first baseman, that's the only way I will see that happening. But as of right now, Christian Walker, I think, is not going nowhere.
Yeah,
Like
and
the
this.
first season that he had, yes, there's some down parts of it, especially the offensive side of it. Defensively, 3-time Gold Glover. We've always mentioned that. Like the guys were saying that the hitters, he was able to be a machine out there, scooping everything out as well. But of course, he did make some errors too. It wasn't his best defensive season there, but that's just one season. It's not going to defy the whole thing. It's like Jeremy Pena after his rookie season. It was a downfall for him. It wasn't the best hitting season for him. And then next year, look what happens. So that's my take on it. I think it'd just be foolish if the Astros do trade Walker for somebody that's not a starting pitcher.
Yeah, I think you only trade Walker if they're gonna be going all out for Peter Alonso, I think. But I don't see that happening. And honestly, 20 million a year for a great first baseman like Christian Walker, I think that's a bargain compared to what Pete Alonso might get. He might be in the 25s, 26, even 30s possibly, if he gets a good deal. So, I think Christian Walker's good. He can hold his own. I think I'm 95% sure his offensive numbers will be better this coming year than they were last year. So, you can quote me on that if you want. If, at the end of the
We'll
season.
quote you on that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that too. I think he's gonna have this year's gonna be a 30 home run season for him too. We didn't get to see the 30 home runs last season, but I think he'll get to the 30 mark and go over for sure. He was at night 3, I believe, in the RBIs, if I'm not mistaken. So I can see 95 plus. I can see the OPS back up. I can see the WAR, all the offensive category statistical numbers. I could see everything being going up.
So if Caratini does leave, who do you think gets the reps?
Well, he's gone right now.
Yeah, well, yeah. When technically he's gone. Technically he's gone. So who gets the reps whenever Walker needs a day off? Do you think they bring
Well,
in?
that's Zach Paredes right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you give it a Paredes, or do the Astros go back to as well to letting Zenzo get play time at first? Because remember that there's a time where he is a big kid too. So
He is a tall. Yeah, he's
so
very
if you
tall.
could develop him to play first, and that's a pretty big wall to have at first as well.
I think I would normally agree with you, but the way I'm picturing the infield out and like the outfield is Jordan Alvarez is probably gonna get the DH spot the majority of the time, unless Altuve needs a day off or like one of the older vets needs a day off, right? Like, just get their feet off again. So I see Correa at third, Jeremy at short, Baez at second, Walker at first. Then you got Altuve, probably Myers, and then Cam Smith. Now, the reason why I don't agree with Zenzo playing first base is because I'm sure he's gonna be taking turns with Altuve over there in the outfield, like his backup thing. So I think that's more important right now for him because when say Walker needs a day off, you have Paredes shifts to first, Altuve will probably shift to second, and then you got Dezenzo right there at or Melton or whoever can Dubon can get right field. So it'll be interesting the way it plays out because especially for Marshall Dubon, now I think of it because right now if all those guys are healthy, he has no spot in the infield honestly because you you can kind of switch him up with Paredes. Yeah, it's just
this team has a lot of depth, so
There's a lot.
somebody's gonna get moved. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Maybe Melton
yeah,
might not be on the
I
roster.
think so,
I mean, people are
but it
gonna
won't be
get.
Walker.
I know maybe Orias might get moved. That's somebody
Yeah.
because I think Astros definitely keep Dubon over him as a utility guy. You know, both guys would be nice to keep, but at that point, you got younger guys coming up like Cole as well. So I mean, eventually he's going to be a situation where like he can't be in AAA no more, and he has to be on the big league roster.
I think I'm glad you brought Dezenzo up because I honestly I'd say 75% chance he's on an Astros uniform next year. I think he's one of the pieces they can get to get like maybe an arm or a reliever just because you just explained
Could
that
be the same thing with
versatility.
Shea.
You know what?
With Shea as well, possibly too.
Yeah, because like you said yourself, he has that versatility to play first base, right? To play third base, I believe too, to play outfield, right? So knowing that I can be enticing to teams that are trying to, rebuild a little bit, right? Just to kind of get that depth, and then for like an arm. So I think, yeah, I think that's how you kind of limit that. You start trading some guys off from that depth infield. Some guys that might not get enough playing time, and try to see what you can get. Maybe because again, I'm sure the Astros wish they had this depth pitching wise, right? So I think they can get some of like substitute some of that infield depth to some of the pitching depth. I think that can work.
Yeah. So, and just to add on too with Dezenzo, you made a good point. That offseason last year, he was in the Puerto Rican Winter League, and what did the Astros tell him? They needed to get him more reps in the outfield. They wanted him to get more reps. So that's where I just think he just stays in the outfield. There he'll be like a third or fourth string at first base, but like that quote that Brown had said that Brian McTaggart had on his tweet, it said, "We'll play Paredes there." So I feel like the Astros, Dana Brown, Joe Espada, they're giving Paredes a chance to play that corner. They're giving him the chance to play first base, just like how they gave the chance to Altuve go play some left field.
I wonder how early though, because again, he's coming off a hamstring injury, and when you think about first base, you're stretching out a little bit, right? Reaching out. So it just depends how he is. Well, and I'll get into that in a bit right now, right? Is he ready for opening day? Does he feel comfortable stretching that leg up a little bit? Because the last thing you want for the Astros is to re-aggravate that, and a hamstring injury is tricky because they can linger there for a long time. You can run and then all of a sudden take one false step and bam, it's there again, right? So I know these guys have like top-notch trainers, things to get ready and stuff like that. But again, at the end of the day, the human body does what the human body wants at times, right? So it's just, that's my thing. I think early on, you might see maybe Perez at first base, maybe once every 2 weeks or once a week, just depending how he feels, right? The hamstring feels, and then maybe mid-season, then he starts to see more like a rotating door in the infield, seeing what's based on pitching matchups, based on things that you can control. So that's my 2 cents there.
Yeah, I mean, we said earlier in the show, Stepan had mentioned it before we even started recording that John Morosi did make a point. A lot of teams are looking for outfielders.
Yeah.
Houston has a surplus of outfielders right now. Of course, they're not going to give away Alvarez. They're not going to give away Jose Altuve if they're listing them guys as outfielders. The guys that are more likely that are going to be posted, and I'm not saying they're going to be dealt, but posted would be Zach Cole, it'd be Jacob Melton, it'd be Jake Myers. I will not say Cam Smith. Jesus Sanchez is another guy.
You still got him. I forgot about him. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Unless Houston gives Sanchez, like I said, with this new hitting coach coming in, maybe there's a new
Maybe they could fix him.
Yeah, maybe there's a new change that they could look into and kind of retake
Right
on his
now,
swing and his mechanics and his stance. Or, like I had mentioned, I mean, Houston can make a move for him and deal him for some pitching. I mean, that's up to the staff.
yeah, I think
Maybe
right
they,
now,
or maybe they get so deep in the analytic department that they come out with a different version of the torpedo bat, and the Astros start up a new trend next season.
I it's hard to see Jesus Sanchez as anything more than a platoon player right now, and that's
Yeah.
until his offense and others for lefties improve, and I think he has to make drastic work honestly because he has that pop, but it's just the way his swing works. He's pull happy, he tries to exert all his power. So again, I forgot about him too. So again,
I
a lot
think
of
if he could slow down his game to be like I think more nonchalant and like a less tense at bats, I think he could be a really good hitter because the power is there because of
yeah,
his
he's a nice
caliber
swing
of
too.
size and his exactly. So I feel like his body's gonna produce most of the bat speed off of just him letting the bat go. So him trying to kill the ball all the time, I think he's just ruining his vision. He's pulling his head too far or something where he's just missing things barely.
Yeah. But we'll see, and I mean, we've been talking about this Astros lineup. On paper it's good, and the only thing that's missing is health. Right? They have to be healthy. They have to have all their pieces in place. And Dana Brown during this general manager meetings also talked about guys that could be returning like to 100%. I guess we can start with Isaac Bettis. We've been talking about him. The majority of the time he's at very bad hamstring injury. Surprised he came back honestly before the season ended. Like that was shock to me. But right now he's at 65% recovering from his hamstring. So imagine 65% now. So he was probably literally at 50%, playing, and
Less,
that
bro.
only and
Like
that only
40.
that what?
Or
Like probably
40.
like 40, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, and I think that only happened because Alvarez went down. Because I think if that DH spot's not available, he's not. They'll just let him recover there. But
Or
60,
maybe they're like it was a ballsy move, like, hey, we need you for the playoffs. If we make it, let's go. He was
I
like,
think
I
that's
will.
more of a player. Like, how do you feel? Do you want to
Yeah. Do you want to
try to
Do you
give it
want
a
to go
go
to?
or in a
Do you
push
go to
right
the
now?
motor blows,
Yeah.
or you just want to do whatever? But honestly, that's probably the best bet because he already rested it. So it's at the point where it's like, all right, just play till you get hurt. Now you just get the surgery after you get hurt again. You know what I mean? That's because now he's resting and letting it heal, but next season it could be a thing again. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's not gonna be 100% healed. You think about it. A lot of times you just get like I mean, how many times we've pulled your hamstring and we never got surgery on it. That thing that thing's gonna come back. There's
it
gonna be that
lingers.
one
Yeah,
time.
But his was more of a grade 2, grade 3, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. That's what they had mentioned about
yeah,
his hamstring.
severe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more severe than a grade 1, like what we dealt with. That was
Hey,
like a
you
month,
never
right?
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. Might feel like a grade 10, bro.
Bro, my whole leg was all purple down to my knee, bro. Like mine was pretty bad.
If he's 65% right now, and I'm very curious about this because the World Baseball Classic will be headlining in
I don't think he's
Houston with
playing.
Team Mexico and Team USA,
He's
They're
not
not
some of
gonna
them
let him.
teams, and that's what I'm thinking. And I really think, and this is just me, just saying this, not for him, but I feel he really wants to play this WBC.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't-
But
he wants to. The Astros let him though. That's the thing.
is it
I don't
his
even know if
choice
they're gonna
or
let
is it?
Altuve play.
I think it's
It's.
the player's choice. I would
I
say.
think it's mutual though, because remember
Yeah.
there were some pitchers where like they wanted to play, but the team told them no, or you can only pitch maybe one game or like this many innings.
Was it?
So yeah, that's what
There's a
I
lot of
learned. Like,
controversy, but eventually a lot of players were like ticked off about it. Like, you know what, I'm not gonna miss this opportunity next time coming around.
because didn't Kirk missed one of them. I know he had a child one, but then I think there was one where he wanted to make sure he was with the spring training right facility, so he doesn't because the pitching catchers go in early. I think that was one of it. I could be wrong, but I think it's mutual. I think it's if the player, but I think at the end of the day, the team gives the okay. Like if the players want to play, the team says okay, but I think it's on the team.
Speaking of WBC, Pujols was in a conversation with the Padres for about 8.5, 9.5 hours just to not land the
Damn,
job.
when watching a movie or
Yeah, no, talk about that, man. I mean, the whole 9.5 hours having an interview and you just don't leave with the job. You think you secured the job at that point. You think you got comfortable and just started talking about the team at that point.
And he's like, "Thank you
Man,
for coming for my TED talk."
man, Pujols was already like, organizing that office and everything like
Yeah, I
that,
know.
switching out the books.
But free agency is here,
Oh,
Michael.
let me
But
finish
you're
real
what
quick. Sorry.
I
Uh,
thought you finished the game.
no. My fault, my fault. So again, he was at 65. Brown thinks this is a quote from Brown. We feel like he'll at least get to somewhere between 89% to start spring training and potentially be ready to go on opening day. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like first base wise might not be early on as much, right? Because I think he wanted to get comfortable with one position first, and then once you can feel he's ready to go 110%, then you start implementing first base a little bit. Josh Hader, again, another big injury late in the season, has thrown off the mound 3 times and expected to have a normal offseason. So good news for Astros fans. They're having the closer back who could have been a different result if they have Josh Hader, but healthy for that late run to the postseason. Yordan Alvarez is running at 65 and 70%, and honestly, I think he's been running like that since 2 years now. Like you don't want to take it to
Kind of thing.
yeah, just take it easy if you're Yordan Alvarez, because honestly, I don't see him playing a lot of outfield position this year. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. And then Jeremy Pena is recovered from his oblique as well. And that was the one thing that was bothering him. So the Astros are hopeful to get healthy before the end. I mean, before the start of opening day. So I think if you're the Astros fans, you're keeping your hopes up for a very healthy Astros team. There you go, Seth. Have at it.
Also give a shout out to Hunter Brown for being a finalist for the Cy Young.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure he finished like third though. But
third.
Yeah, so he finished third in the AL Cy Young voting, getting 29 of the 30 votes. We have it on our Twitter. If you haven't gone on there, y'all can give it a like, give it a retweet, whatever you
Spot
like.
of 6.
We have the information there. But 24 third place votes, which I think that was already going to be shown, and totaled 80 points. So it was Screwball that had 100, and I think it was 98.
Yeah, Crochet was next.
127 with Garrett Crochet, 80 points for Hunter Brown. 61. That was pretty close. 61 Max Fried. I think Brian Wu had a better season than Max Fried because Brian Wu had 26 votes. But anyway, getting off track with the voting, Houston will receive a draft pick after the first round. So this helps Houston a lot because since the sign stealing scandal, they really haven't had a lot of draft picks, a lot of draft assets going into the draft. And they're going to get, of course, their regular first round. They're going to have this Hunter Brown one now from the PPI. As well, if Framber Valdez signs elsewhere besides a Houston Astros uniform, then the Astros will gain, I think, two picks. Don't quote me on that. I know for sure a pick because Framber, it's just how it was for Alex Bregman. When Bregman signed with the Red Sox, the Astros were able to get a pick back, but then they signed somebody else and they couldn't get that pick, something like that. But summarizing this, the Astros are getting draft picks, which is well needed for this team because when you got a guy like Dana Brown that has a scouting guy who had scouted for Drake Baldwin, same as Durbin, that's pretty much really good. I mean, he has a really good eye for it. Got a team over there now that has the eye. They got Xavier Nayans from last year. Kid has some pop. I'm very excited to see what he looks like in the future. Of course, Walker Yannick, if y'all have been keeping up with the Arizona Fall League, he was an all-star, and he's had an excellent AFL season, as well as Anderson Brito. So
I heard he was balling out too, Anderson.
yeah, Brito's been balling out, and like I said, Yannick too. Sullivan, you can't forget about him, and I believe Hicks as well. So this helps Houston a lot getting these draft assets for the next draft.
Don't they get a draft pick if I'm about that signs elsewhere too after the third round because
that's what I was saying. They're going to get a draft pick. I just didn't know what round it was.
I think it's after the third round.
Okay, so after the third round.
And I also want to throw in there the only Astros player to start at 7 positions in consecutive seasons, utility man Mauricio Dubon has become the 7th Houston player to win multiple American League Gold Glove awards. So tip of the cap to
never miss
being a doob.
And then that's why you make that point earlier, Esteban, about Ramon Urias being dealt. That's a possible
so.
guy that could be traded.
Yeah, you gotta give your flowers to Dubon. You can't just get rid of him. He built so much around Houston, and Houston's built around him as well. So I think he's a guy that stays. But free agency is here. One of the bigger candidates as well is Michael King. ESPN's Jeff Passan believed the Astros signing free agent right-handed Michael King would be the perfect move this offseason. And another big name that's out there in the pitching world is Dylan Cease, per John Morosi on MLB Network Monday. Likeliest for Dylan Cease at the deadline in July. The team that was the most interested in him, the Houston Astros, which this name's been speculated for a while already, I believe, especially around that one time that we had opened up the season against the White Sox. They were speculating. This was probably what, maybe
This was like in 21,
2021,
21
yeah.
or 22, one of those.
And that's when he actually had more hype around him. That's when he was,
It was
dealing.
balling.
Yeah. So, this is something that Astros probably been trying to get around to. So, hopefully they can get the thing done, and it could be a good thing for the Astros. But Dylan Cease to the Astros probably has as much as chances happening as any other free agent prediction out there.
Oh,
Which, I mean, to each his own. And Brandon Woodruff's a good name, like you said. Zach Gallen wouldn't be bad either. I mean, Michael King or Dylan Cease, these are all guys that could really played huge roles for the Astros, especially losing Framber is gonna need somebody to replace either lefty or righty. Regardless, you're gonna need to throw an arm in there, and it's gonna need to be a big league caliber. You don't fill it up with a prospect at that point.
And I think on that segment on MLB Network, they were saying Dylan Cease hasn't missed a start since 2020.
Oh,
And what I've talked about in the last episode when I was recording was Dylan Cease is almost near the workhorse threshold as Framber Valdez. Framber had 190 something innings last year. Dylan only had 160, but he's had 30 starts, like 30 plus starts in the last 4 seasons. And that's what the Astros are going to need. If Hunter Brown's taking over this ace role of this team, and by means he deserves it because of the season that he just recently have, and even from the second half of 24, then having a guy like Cease behind him, that's a really killer 1-2 punch there. And
yeah, and he's not shy to go out there. I mean, the last time he threw a no-hitter in 2024, he went 114 pitches to get that done. So somebody's not shy if you just leave him out there.
Just food for thought. I mean, I think Dylan Cease will be a great time for the Astros, right? But I'm, just something to think about. He is getting a little older, right? And
just turned 30, I think, or 31.
And the way the pitchers are, you say he's been healthy, which is great, right? But do you think it's in the back of the Astros' minds? Again, it's just a thought process, right? That the way these pitchers are getting hurt nowadays with Tommy John, he's been healthy for so long. Do you think it's in the back of their mind? It was like, well, if we sign him for like long term, there might be a year where he gets hurt just because he's been such a workhorse lately. That I'm sure that elbow and that shoulder are getting a lot of work in traction. Anything that's like something just to think about.
I think it's a common thing with any athlete, especially any pitcher. It's gonna happen. You can't really avoid it. And at this point, I think it's something that MLB needs to take into hand. Maybe adjusting things with the ball, or maybe giving the pitcher certain things. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit more time. Exactly. So it's like there's lots of analytics behind it, a lot of science. You know what I mean? So I mean, it just comes sit down and. You're changing the game so much, you can only do so much to a point where fans are not going to want to watch anymore either. So you got to be careful what you do here.
And just to add to that too, think about this last season, bunch of injuries.
Yeah, 17 it's like every day. It's like every day, every week you're hearing a new star go down.
Yeah, exactly. And for Houston, then that's what you're saying. Do the Astros have that in the back of their mind? Well, shit, they didn't see this last season happen because of injuries. So, of course, when they're going into this offseason, they're going to look at the resume. They're going to look at the injury history. They're going to do everything in their power to put a better number, a better figure for this free agent to try to sign for the Astros. Of course, they're doing their due diligence on their side of wanting to bring a big name to Houston, but it's going to have to be at the right price. And, of course, when you look at prices and money involved, we've seen, through the Jim Crane era of how much he's willing to pay a player. So.
And the way the pitching market is looking right now, you're looking at pre-owned vehicles. You're not looking at certified pre-owned vehicles. So you're looking at some non-warranty, non-bumper to bumper right now. You're looking at
Does it have a Carfax at least?
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
a little bit up there. You know what I mean? Kelly Blue Book might not like it, but you'll be all right. But like there's not many young guys out there as well. So the market's gonna be what the market's gonna be.
Can't be looking for old reliable, so this is gonna get you to point A to point
That's
B.
if you're going to work from home. I think that's kind of like where you need that vehicle.
Yeah. As well, we're talking about Justin Verlander per Chandler Rome. Justin Verlander's availability will intrigue Crane, who remains close friends with the future Hall of Famer. In April, Verlander said there was mutual interest between him and Crane in a reunion. Verlander ultimately signed with the San Francisco Giants, but said in April he would always entertain the idea of coming back to Houston. What do you think about Unc coming back to the
Well, Angel's going to say it first, if anything, because he's already telling you to stop.
Yeah,
I'm going on mute for this segment.
He's trying to come back into Houston because him and his wife got so much money probably invested in this city. So that's probably why he's trying to come back this way.
It's probably why the housing market's up right now. They over here about it.
They own everything.
Exactly.
So if Angel's talking about that, I'll throw this. I'll throw a little 2 cents because I do think that the Astros don't need to go to this route of adding Justin Verlander. However, if it's the best available arm, you got to remember too, the beginning of the season, Verlander struggled mightily. He couldn't get a win for the first.
I think 8 starts.
I don't know how many starts.
I think 8 starts. I think it was 8, 10 starts.
He was giving up like 4 or 5 runs
if I'm not mistaken.
every time too.
Yeah, and then after the All-Star break, it kind of just flipped the switch into 2022 Justin Verlander. And the second half of the season, he honestly pitched decent. He wasn't bad. So for that fact of the matter, I will say it is a possibility that Houston could be the number one destination for Justin Verlander this offseason. But it depends on the price. I was
going to say price tag, yeah.
No, that's what I was going to say. For me, if
you could get him at a great value price, and
that's what I'm saying. I'm not paying nothing over
5. I say 5.
Oh wow, I wouldn't pay nothing over 15.
Yeah,
because I think that's what he got from the Giants this past season. I don't have his contract right in front of me, but the target that I would look into, and Angel said 5. Jesus,
so I was
going to say 11. I was going to look at 11. What was it?
No, I'm not saying the numbers, but I'm saying he
signed a 1-year, $15 million year contract with Giants.
He did, right? Okay, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going under. I'm going
8 to 10.
You're going 8 to 10. I'd say 11.
Say a veteran's minimum.
11 to 12 million.
Yeah, veteran's minimum.
That veteran minimum is about 8 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so then I'll do. That's a comfortable price at that point for Verlander. I mean, you got to think about it. He's still. I mean, he had a rough season, 4-11, but he still was able to show up for 29 games and posted a 3.85 ERA in 152 innings with 137 strikeouts and 1.36 WHIP.
If you can check Esteban, the second half of his season, I'm very curious to see what that looks like and that's my point. If the Astros can't find anybody else, then he's
43, yo. He's 43.
If you look at last 15 games of that he played, his last 15 games he had a 2.99 ERA, but his last 7 games he put a 3-1 record, 1.96 ERA. This is where he was pretty hot. The last little 7 games. The last
second half of it.
Yeah, so 1.96 ERA, Tom Brady 7 games, 41 inning pitches, 34 hits. 9 earned runs and 15 walks, 38 strikeouts.
But look what Tom Brady did with the Bucks.
He went off, bro. He went crazy. And at this point, I feel like if anybody wanted to give him like a freaking contract in the league, I'm pretty sure he could be like plug and play still at this point.
So that's gonna be your 4-5 guy. You're back into that rotation, I would say. And that's what I'm saying. For me,
if you get him on a Kershaw type of role where he's not really pitching, you know what I mean?
But that's a waste of money then.
Yeah, that'd be a waste of money. Might as well give him.
Need to pitch.
Yeah, so it's
you need to pitch, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
but then
you're gonna look at him as a 4 or 5 guy. You're not gonna see him as the number 1 to number 3 guy in this rotation. if this is the last resort for the Astros, if they can't get nobody at the trade market, and if they sign one of these big names like Michael King or Dylan Cease or Ranger Suarez, then personally for me, I think it's okay move for the Astros to go back in this little reunion.
So no, Astros fans are probably getting tired of like saying when they come back. All right, say you sign Justin Verlander. You signed, say for example, Dylan Cease too. Right, so Dylan Cease, Hunter Brown, your 1-2 punch. But then what happens when Ronel Blanco comes back? Hayden Wozniacki,
but we've
Spencer Rigetti. No.
Too.
I know.
We saw how last season transpired.
I know. And that's why I started like, I'm sure Astros fans are like tired of hearing this when they come back. But let's say, everything goes great. Realistically speaking, do you see Justin Verlander pitching out the bullpen? Like comfortable wise, that's like comfortable.
I don't see it.
No,
I don't see him in a bullpen.
I see Wozniacki. I can see Wozniacki in the bullpen.
Blanco's another guy that
I say Blanco more than Wozniacki.
But I would like to see Wozniacki develop into the starting pitcher because he was doing pretty good with the Astros when he was.
He will,
and I'm pretty sure he will staying in that starter role. And think about it too, guys. Pearson as well. Nate Pearson just got signed by the Astros before free agency.
Dude, that guy is nice.
So
that guy,
it depends on how he pitches as well.
Yeah.
If he's good, he got to major league contract. It wasn't a minor league, so he's getting the opportunity to start. And that's why the whole reason was for him to sign Usyk, because he was going to get the opportunity to start once again. If it doesn't not look really good for him, the Astros can possibly put him in the bullpen too. Yeah. So, and he has some experience in the bullpen as well.
He has some nice stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, we got a new man. Well, he has a new pitching coach.
Yeah.
The other pitching coach did leave in Murphy, but I think that's what I'm saying. Justin Verlander, he's probably going to be your 4 or 5 guy if the Astros sign him.
Dude, 6.
And would I pick any other starter before him? Yes, I would. Honestly, I would. I think there's a bunch of starters available right now, but is it in the budget of the Astros? That's the other thing. If you get a big name like Cease, King, these guys, then that price tag, I mean, it's going to be up there. It's going to be over 100 something. It could be over 150, which I highly doubt, but it could be. Then Houston's going to look at other players in short-term contracts, maybe prove-it contracts. You got Gallen that didn't have a really good season last year. Maybe he can look at a prove-it contract. You got Kelly that's up in age as well. He really pitched well, I think, for Arizona and Texas. I don't think he has a prove-it contract, but he can have another year or two. Jose Quintana's a year. You're going to be looking at these budget contracts that 1 or 2 year deals.
Do you know who's also free agent?
As in for pitching?
Yeah.
I mean, give it to me.
Jose Urquidy.
Yeah, Jose. And he did pitch a lot of games.
Tigers?
Yeah, Tigers. You know, I wouldn't be too upset if the Astros take a shot on Shota Imanaga either, too. So,
what about Jack Flaherty?
It wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's pretty okay. He's like the lower guys, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't say Flaherty's the lower guy. I think that'd be a good deal.
He'd be a number 3 guy.
Yeah.
But I put for my players, if I was the Astros, to look into signing it was Framber, because of course there's just you're gonna have that Astros, and if you played for that team, you're gonna still get something. Try to put an offer on the table. So I put him on there. I put Dylan Cease on there. I put Shane Bieber on there. I put Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Brandon Woodruff, and Ranger Suarez. And of course, Shane Bieber picked up his option to go back to Toronto, which I was shocked, honestly, about that. But, good for him. He's trying to build something over there, try to at least go back to the World Series. That honestly, they should have won.
Nice. They look nice as a squad.
Yeah, they do. Good. So I still got some of those guys on there. I don't think Framber comes back in an Astros uniform, so you can scratch that one off. But the guys that I had put, Cease is up there. I wanted to put King, but I didn't know how that looked. I didn't know if that would be a good fit.
I just don't see it.
Honestly, King is nice, dude. I like King.
I don't see it, though.
Nice. I mean,
but do you think he wants to play in Houston?
Last year he was good. This season he wasn't as good as the previous year, because last year he was like a sub 2, like 1.6 ERA pitcher. And
I'm not denying
And that's why I didn't put
I'm
him
not
real quick, Andrew. I didn't put him
Go
on my
ahead.
list was because of that factor of last season. It wasn't a really good, starting
Mhm.
season for him.
Yeah, but like,
go on.
I'm not denying he would be a good fit. I mean, like, just talent wise, I think he's a great pitcher, right? But
Mhm.
does he fit in the clubhouse? I think, especially playing with the Yankees, and
Yeah,
that
he's kind of like an odd
you
man
know,
out.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be a good fit, but talent wise, yes, right? You can put him in. Has experienced both things, but I think he's gonna be a starter. But it's just like, does he want to play in Houston? You got to start with him first, right? Especially after all that, Astros Yankees rivalry and stuff like that. Now he wasn't there for 2017, right? So that's not a factor, but it's just like all these other games that they had.
All right, real quick, trade starting pitchers. I mean, what pitchers are in the market that you would trade for? Give me your top three.
Do you have a
And
list?
start off with you.
Is there a list for
No,
trading?
I don't have a list on me right here, but if you did,
I gotta look at it.
I mean, I have some names in my head, but I'll let y'all go first since I did my my free agent pitchers at the Astros should target.
Oh, I don't know. Any kind of put me in a spot here.
Okay, Stebby, do you have an idea?
Let me look. I know Caesar's up there for me, and I did
No,
bring up
trade
Gadget.
targets.
Oh,
for the
trade
Astros.
targets.
Trade like for starting pitchers. You know
For
what? I'll
starting
go ahead
pitchers,
since
the
y'all.
main
Yeah,
guy.
go ahead.
You said the Twins were out there, so the Twins were interested already before. Whenever Correa was, say they do go back to going on to that. Who do you go for? Do you go for Pablo or do you go for Joe Ryan? And I would go for Joe Ryan as well. But I mean, the guy that you're possibly going to get for straight up for Christian Walker would probably be Pablo. You're not going to get. I doubt they're going to give Joe Ryan up for Christian Walker.
What about Sandy Alcantara? What do you think about him?
I think the Astros would have got him if they had the chance to last season. But not at the way the season rolled out after the trade deadline. Maybe they are lenient with getting rid of him because they were in the rebuild factor. So, I mean, they might go to it. He did get re-injured again for a little bit when he came back and then was
I
never
think he's
really
still
the
going to be
same.
on the market though. They got some good starters on the come up. Edward Cabrera, I'm shocked that they're going to want to shop him.
Yeah, that's somebody that I would like for the Astros to get to as well.
My top three, since we're talking about it, and this is like going from number 3 being the likeliest to the most positive chance that can happen would be 3 would be Sonny Gray. 2 would be Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, Mackenzie
I
Gore.
think the Brewers trading him though.
And number 1, I'm very high on Pablo. But number 1 could happen in Mackenzie Gore, but I think Washington might be looking for a package.
That's a high price tag.
Yeah. So I'll go Pablo at number 1.
I would definitely like Joe. I think Joe would be my favorite. Joe Ryan.
I don't know. I mean, I like Freddie Peralta. I think he gives the best chance to win, but I don't think the Brewers will be, shopping him. I don't know.
I think they are going to shop.
You think so?
They have like one of the top farm systems in the league right now. I think they're like top 3, top 5, one of those.
Another person that I heard floating around like the Astros trade scandals, thingies, whatever you want to call it, rumors, trade rumors was Jaron Duran. He was linked to the Astros as well.
Where are these sources
you're
bringing up?
I mean, that's something that was linked. Like I had seen rumors of it, like not linked to them trade talking.
Someone got faxed.
Nah, I did not get faxed. That's just the thing. He's connected to teams that interested. Like people that he would fit with would be like Mets, Giants, Padres, Red Sox.
That's
Astros.
if Houston trades Jake Myers. If
that's what I'm
that
saying.
happens, then I wouldn't be surprised if Houston knock on the door for Byron Buxton, who said that he's open to possibly open his no trade clause.
Yeah,
and Jaron Duran, I think that'd be a good one too. But I mean, Boston's going to trade him because they have a lot of depth in the outfield. When you have Willier, you have Roman, you have Sadon.
Do you want that in the clubhouse though?
Oh, Durant?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think he's a good guy. I think he changes his ways. He definitely changed.
But trading starting pitchers wise, if I had to,
The
put
dude literally. I seen the video. The dude literally signs after every home game after the game, instead of leaving from the parking lot, he walks out the stadium, goes to sign autographs, and is literally there for hours just to like sign little kids stuff and adults, people's baseballs and jerseys, all that stuff.
Can't do that in Minute Maid, but I get robbed out there.
Nah,
Nah.
nah, you wouldn't. Definitely wouldn't.
It's because Fenway, when players go and get when they went to go sign autographs, they're literally their vehicles right by the door,
No.
and the fans are right there. Like they're it's barricaded right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, to the players. Esteban, you've been watching the not the the documentary of the Red Sox, the clubhouse, I think it is on Netflix.
I see a little glance of it.
So yeah,
But
there are the three guys I think I'd do. It'd be Gray, it'd be Peralta, and it'd be Pablo. Because if the Twins are looking to rebuild and reconstruct, and if I think that's why I'm saying that with Byron Buxton, what he said today, if Joe Ryan gets dealt, I think that's going to put the cherry on top for Buxton to possibly go look somewhere else to open that trade clause.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, boys. I mean, do we have anything else?
Yeah, the Astros cleaning house on the 40-man roster. So the Astros have outrighted 4 players off their 40-man roster. Outfielder Chas McCormick, left-handed pitcher John Rooney, outfielder Eddie Corona, starting pitcher Luis Garcia, infielder, outfielder Pedro Leon, which was one of the Astros' bigger prospects, hype prospects back then, which never panned out. Eventually, the Astros gave this kid time and, eventually let him off on waivers, which was claimed by the Baltimore Orioles. So best of luck to him. And, we'll be seeing the Astros, causing drama this next season coming up, or maybe he just stays in their minor league as well. But who knows? Right-handed pitcher Ronel Blanco, outfielder Zach DeZenzo, right-handed pitcher Caleb Bort. What was this about?
Those guys are back on the 40-man.
Oh, yeah, those are back on the 40.
You go from 60 to the 40.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So then you get Caleb Bort, Brandon Walter, and Hayden Westnexty.
Reinforcements, yeah.
Reinforcements to the Shields.
Zach DeZenzo, I'm pretty sure, could be potentially ready for spring training. I'd say the same thing for Caleb Bort. The only ones that are going to be Blanco, Walter, and Wesneski having that Tommy John. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Y'all say it's crazy, but it could potentially happen with Justin Verlander in the Nationals uniform.
Yeah, I mean, it might happen. But there was this one page I had seen that was like a troll account on Instagram, but it was like a Tommy John account, bro. And they would post like every time a player would go down, they'd be like, "I got you," and like they'll post the player, bro. Like there was literally so many MLB players on that. I was like,
yeah, that will be talked about. I believe that is all the Astros news that we have. I know there was one I wanted to talk about just real briefly, real light. I don't want to talk too much about it. Was about Dana Brown talking about the Astros regarding their return to play procedure. This is from Chandler Rome's tweet saying that the Astros, this is Dana Brown saying the Astros are taking a, quote, deep dive into their return to play procedure. There's a quote from Brown. We felt like with all the injuries and using 60 players to get through the season, at times we felt that some of the guys came back a little sooner than we would have expected, Brown said. So I think Alvarez was real soon. I thought that was that was an injury from May all the way to August, if I'm not mistaken.
Crazy.
That boy needed milk.
Yeah, them bones need to be strong. So kids, drink your milk. But that is the end of our show for tonight. Episode 292 is in the books. Angel had mentioned it earlier in the show where you can find us. We got all our social media platforms at the bottom. Full Steam Ahead on Twitter, on TikTok, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. It's right there at the bottom as well. If you're on Twitter, which the majority of our audience is, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to that channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Give this video a like. So with the notification bell, you don't miss none of our videos that we post, from our live episodes to our player interviews. We'll probably put one of Hunter Brown from the All-Star game that we have in the archives. We'll probably put that one up pretty soon. We're going to have some interviews with some players, some coaches, some Astros personnel, former Astros personnel, in the off season. So that's why I said make sure you hit that subscribe button. Of course, we're gonna get some reels and some TikToks, some shorts, all them good social media fun stuff. Very fun stuff to do, not to mention out in the world. And then, of course, on our bottom left, if you're on Spotify, you're on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, because Friday Junior is tomorrow, and we're on this on Wednesday, November 12th, Houston, Texas. And tomorrow, if you're on the way to work, on the way to drop your kids off, on the way to being out of town,
Or on the way to Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursdays, drink responsibly, please, over 21 plus. Or you want to go and listen to the pod before you go to a sporting event like the Rockets game or the Dallas Stars game, if you're a Dallas fan out there that loves the Astros. So I just wish Houston would have a hockey team. But anyway, with the podcast platforms, like, rate, subscribe, give us a feedback, give us some stars, some ratings. We really appreciate each and every one of y'all on the audio. But boys, Esteban, any last words? Final thoughts?
Nothing.
Damn, dry today. I see.
Tired.
It's all right. It's all right. Y'all boys are barely getting back. Angel, final thoughts? Any last words?
No, I just thank you for listening. You know, we had a really good crowd, honestly, for an off-season pod. So I appreciate that love and support that you've shown, and just spread the word. Thank you for listening, and we appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, we'll try to do some things in the off season regarding. We talked about the interviews, giveaways, possibly, or I know we've talked about it off air on something that could be happening that we can look into. But if we do decide, we'll let each and everyone know on our. More than likely, it'd probably be on the Twitter profile instead of Instagram, because this is where our following base is on X. So just make sure you hit that notification. Make sure you get all our stuff, all the news, all the Astros news, all whatever we're going to put out there regarding giveaways and certain events. But till then, y'all stay safe. Have a great Thursday. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to y'all soon, possibly another Wednesday episode. Like I said, the off season, we only record once out of the week. So we will let y'all know, just like we did today, when we will record again. But until then, y'all stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all soon.